Like, subscribe and share Tree Fanfiction audiobook channel for more fun. Chapter 71. Shibukayan and Kukaki Fyujin opened their eyes at the same time, and there was a sense of confusion in both eyes. Where am I? Where am I? Am I already dead? Shibukayan muttered to himself that in his last memory, he was swallowed by the void, and finally died voluntarily under Rukia's Zanpakutō. But now he's awake again. Kukaki Fyujin's face was also confused, and his mind went blank for a while. Both of them have been dead for several decades, and their strength is relatively weak. After resurrection, they will be confused for a short time, which is a normal phenomenon. Master Kayan, sister. Crimson. The excited voices of Rukia and Byakuya woke up Shibukayan and Kukaki, who were in a state of confusion. Shibukayan and Kukaki Fyujin looked up at the same time, and saw Rukia and Byakuya with red eyes walking towards them. Rukia? Captain Kukaki? How can I still see you? Shibukayan was startled. Logically he is dead, there is no reason to see Rukia and Byakuya again. Even he guessed, maybe Rukia and Byakuya also. Kukaki Fyujin's body trembled, and when she saw Byakuya, and then saw Rukia beside Byakuya, who was 70% similar to herself, tears welled up in her eyes. Husband! Rukia! Surprised and excited, Shibukayan and Kukaki Fyujin saw some familiar faces around them. Such as Unohana Retsu, Kurako Shunsui, Jaishur Yukatake, Shihao and Yoryuaki, Yura Harakisuke, etc. Although there are many powerful Arankars in the distance, I don't know what's going on. Sister, Master Kayan, you are resurrected. Rukia has already run to Shibukayan and Kukaki Fyujin, tearfully telling them the news of their resurrection. Resurrection. Both Shibukayan and Kukaki Fyujin were shocked by this, but they also felt distressed seeing Rukia like this. Shibukayan touched Rukia's head like an older brother. So I'm resurrected, but Rukia, why do you still cry so much? It's still like this at such a big age, and there are so many people watching here. When Byakuya came over, he gave Kukaki Hima a hug. This made Kukaki Fyujin very nostalgic, and also felt very warm, extremely warm. Husband. The other Shinigami watched the scene with great relief. The resurrection of Shibukayan and Kukaki is not only a good thing for Rukia and Byakuya, but also for them. Yet, I, an old man, want to cry. Jing Le supported the bamboo hat and said. Jushiro exhaled slowly, and then with a smile on his face, welcome back, Kayan. Jushiro is the captain of Shibukayan, and the relationship between the two is also very deep. Perhaps both Jushiro and Rukia feel guilty for Kayan's death, and now Shibukayan can't be better. Shibukayan also saw Jushiro, but his face suddenly became a little strange, and he asked suspiciously, Captain Jushiro, your complexion seems to be much better than before, and your hair has also turned black. This hair is dyed, huh? Didn't expect the captain to have the habit of dyeing his hair too. Jushiro smiled awkwardly, just come back, just come back. Urahara and Yoryuaki also went up to say a few polite words, and everyone was happy. Ichigo and his team were on the sidelines. After all, they didn't know Shibukayan or Kukaki Fyujin before. Rukia and her sister look alike. It's almost as if they came out of the same mold. If it weren't for the different temperaments of the two, I would have almost confused them. Ichigo marveled at the uncanny resemblance between Rukia and her sister. Yet, Kukaki and her older sister look alike, but her older sister is more mature and stable. Congratulations on their reunion. Orium wished sincerely. But this Shijir dragon pushed his glasses and said, I said, Kurosaki, have you noticed that you are also very similar to that Shinigami named Shibukayan? The image of Shibukayan is indeed very similar to Ichigo, except that the hair is not yellow. The other similarities are at least 5 or 6 points. Ichigo himself noticed this at first. But he didn't know what was going on at all. Could it be that the other party was his long-lost relative, Big Brother? Sato, Ichigo, is he really your long-lost brother? Orium, so, he really looks like Kurosaki-san. Ichigo suddenly had the urge to scold someone, and said angrily, that guy is Genji's brother, not me. When Ichigo and others first entered the Soul Society, they met Shiba Genju and Ichigo, and the others also heard that Shiba Kyan died under Rukia Zanpakutō. But, what Ichigo doesn't know is that Shiba Kyan is indeed his brother. Although not a real brother, but a cousin. As for everyone in Arrancar, they had different expressions at the moment, but they didn't bother them. After all, Shiba Seaweed and Deadwood Hima were both resurrected by Chiba. Afterwards, the Shinigami people told Shiba Kyan and Kokaki Fyujin the ins and outs of the resurrection, and they were amazed. After all, the means of bringing people back from the dead is incredible, and everyone thanked Chiba again. Chiba just nodded lightly, and then reminded Rukia to bring 3 captain-level Shinigami here. At this point, Chiba enters the system page to check the secret value. Currently, he has a total of 1450 secret points. With so many secrets, it's time to change something. Chiba also intends to take advantage of this time to exchange some items. Before, he exchanged for Ultimate Ryutsu, Ultimate Zhanchuanzugui, Zanpakutō Regenjaka, Zanpakutō Shikai and Bankai, Hōgyoku, coexistence of static and dynamic blood equipment, sacred words x all things penetration. Chiba glanced at the items on the exchange bar, and he didn't really need the ordinary things. Soon, Chiba had 2 items selected. Do you want to spend 300 days of machine value to exchange for Saint Text v Fantasy? Yes. Do you want to spend 1000 days of machine value to exchange Holy Text A Omniscience and Omnipotence? Yes. Chiba directly redeems 2 holy texts. Sacred Text v, Dead Kanbaru's holy text of Grimi, who can realize his own imagination, is an outrageous ability. Although Grimi lost to Shikai's Kenpachi in the end, it is undeniable that this imagination is very powerful. And omniscient. Chuhabaka's omniscience and omnipotence can be said to be the strongest ability in the original work, except for the King of Souls himself. This ability is almost unsolvable. At this moment, Chiba has easily obtained these 2 abilities. Chiba already has several powerful abilities, and his own Ryutsu has surpassed the limits of Shinigami and Hollow, and reached a higher dimension after merging with Hōgyoku. Now with the addition of Visionary and Omniscient, Chiba is almost invincible. The only ones who can threaten Chiba today are Aizen, Monk, Yamamoto and others, and they are only a little bit threatening. Chiba smiled slightly, with the thought. A miraculous scene happened. Within a range of 100 meters around the shop, a large variety of flowers grew out of the ordinary dirt in an instant. These colorful flowers fill Chiba's shop, making people feel like they are in a sea of flowers. Moreover, the concentration of spiritual energy in this place has increased by 100 times in an instant. The aura inside the Chiba shop is 100 times stronger than outside. This sudden change stunned everyone in the shop. What's going on here? These flowers seem to have popped out of nowhere, what kind of handwriting? It's not just the flowers, the aura here has suddenly become very strong. I've never seen such a strong aura in the entire Soul Society. Take a breath, it's so comfortable. My dear, how on earth did you do this? Everyone was shocked by the huge changes in the Chiba shop, and everyone was amazed by the uncanny workmanship. Chiba smiled lightly, whether it was the sea of flowers or the aura that was 100 times stronger than the outside, they were all created by his imagination. Of course, this is all real, and what Chiba imagined is real. Because of the extremely high concentration of aura here, even Grimjo, who was seriously injured and comatose, woke up, and the injuries on his body gradually stopped. A high concentration of spiritual energy is very good for cultivation, and the strength will grow faster. Plus the flow of time here in Chiba is 100 times slower than outside, so it can be said. Half a day of practicing here in Chiba is worth a year of hard training outside. Simply scary. At this moment, everyone involuntarily and greedily sucked the aura here, feeling refreshed, and even reluctant to leave Chiba's shop. And when everyone looked at Chiba, they were surprised to find that Chiba seemed to have changed. Chiba's appearance and temperament are still the same as before, and they can't tell what has changed. It just feels that Chiba has become different from before. Of course. Today's Chiba has mastered the power of omniscience and omnipotence, which is the power to know and change the future. In short, gaining the power of all-knowing and all-powerful Chiba, its power goes up another dimension. Although the current Byakuya, Jingle, Jushiro, Urahara, etc. are all very strong in the original book, they are completely incomparable with today's Shenjai. Of course, even Chiba, who is nearly invincible, still wants to tell the fortune of the original characters. Continue to fortune-telling. Next, Kurako Shunsui. Chapter 72. Chiba likes to come in order. After counting Byakuya and Jushiro, Kurako is next. Is it finally my turn? Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Jing Le supported the bamboo hat, although her words sounded frivolous, her face was full of seriousness. He also wonders what will happen to his future and the future of Siridei. Captain of the Beijing band, don't be nervous. Senior Chiba's fortune-telling is very fast, and there are no side effects, such as discomfort. Rukia and Renji at the side comfort Kurako. Jing Le smiled at the two of them. I'm already old, how can I be nervous? Haha. If the vice-captain Nanao Ise was here, he would definitely roll his eyes at Jingle. We all know that we are old, but don't you like flowers? Ichigo said with emotion, Uncle Jingle, he has always given me the feeling that he is very reliable. Although Jingle looks frivolous on the surface, she has always been reliable in doing things. Ichigo propped his chin with his hands, thinking, however, I haven't seen him make a lot of shots. I don't know who is stronger between him and Byakuya. In the Aaron Carr chapter, Jingle had a fight with Starkey, but most of them were paddling. In the end, they also used Shikai to win. The true strength has not yet been fully reflected. Among all the people here, very few have seen Jingle's full-strength shot, and basically don't know what Jingle's Bankai is. Ichigo also compares Jingle and Byakuya, not knowing which one is stronger or weaker. In fact, if it was Byakuya who had not practiced in the Lingwang Palace before strengthening, his combat power would be far inferior to Jingle. Starkey in the distance glanced at Jingle lightly, but didn't say anything. Only his subordinate officer, Lily Knight, gritted her teeth. That BD wearing a bamboo hat. Old Yunbai, I want to kill him in my dreams. Ah! Lilynet was hopping around like a child in a tantrum. This is also normal, after all, during the war in Karakura town, Jingle killed Starkey and was their enemy. It's just that with Starkey's indifferent personality, he doesn't care too much, and occasionally complains. The band leader of Beijing? Oh, my intuition tells me that he is a dangerous guy. Ichimaru-jin squinted and smiled, and his tone made people sound unsure of the truth. Kurako on the opposite side shrugged when he heard Ichimaru-jin's words, DBCF. Thank you for the compliment, Captain Ichimaru, aren't you a dangerous guy too? The two boasted to each other in business. Afterwards, Chiba said lightly, start fortune-telling. Old rules, count the past first, and then the future. People here have listened to Chiba's fortune-telling several times, and basically know that Chiba's quality is in compliance with the rules. Count the past first, then the future. Jingle nodded, then I will trouble Mr. Chiba. Chiba closed his eyes and talked. You were born in a high-ranking aristocrat, and you are the second picture in your family. You have an excellent talent in martial arts, but your personality hates practicing martial arts. You are always idle, and you were sent to the Spiritual Arts Academy to study. You showed your talent as a penultimate in the Academy of Spiritual Art, and you met Jaishur Yukatake, who was in the same class, and both were valued by Yamamoto Genryuzai, and then accepted as disciples, and your strength has grown by leaps and bounds. And because of some family matters, you promised someone to keep the artifact 8 mirror sword, and continued to abide by the agreement to protect Ise Nanao. Hearing this, Jingle seemed to be caught in memory. His big brother died of illness, and his sister-in-law handed over the 8 mirror sword to him for safekeeping. Jingle muttered, "Really, why do everyone like to entrust things to me and leave?" It can be seen that with his lazy nature, he doesn't like to be entrusted. Of course, maybe I just don't like others leaving suddenly. Ichigo et.al. were very surprised and curious. The 8 mirror sword? What is this? Is it powerful? Both Ichigo and Uryu are very curious. To be able to be called a divine weapon, the power or a certain function of the 8 mirror sword must be extraordinary. These Shinigami are quite a lot of weird objects. Is the 8 mirror sword a more powerful Zanpakutō? Yami guessed, but naturally he couldn't guess the specific ability of Bajingjian with his head, and he didn't bother to guess, so he laughed. Who cares about his magical weapon? In front of my second stage return to blade ability, I'm afraid that the 8 mirror sword can't hurt me at all, ha ha ha. Yami's brain is indeed still a little weak. The 8 mirror sword is an artifact, but even the Spirit King can dismember the corpse, and even the captain of the personal guard can be injured, let alone you Yami? Facing the curiosity of Ichigo and others, Jingle did not give any explanation and remained silent. For him, silence is the best choice. After all, he didn't want to say much about this matter and this sword. Chiba's voice kept going. 2.5 years ago, Kurosaki Ichigo and his party invaded the Soul Society to save Rukia Kokaki, and you defeated one of its disasters, Sato Yazutora, without bloodshed and sent him to the General Ambulance Clinic for treatment. Being thoughtful, you realized that the 46th Chamber's sentence on Rukia Kokaki was unfair, so you joined forces with Jaishur Yukatake and others to prevent Skyaku from executing Rukia. But this behavior of robbing the law field angered the head of the team, Yuan Liuzai, and Chun Shui and Jushiro were forced to fight against him. Then the truth came out and Aizen defected. During the Karakura Town War, you followed Yamamoto Genryuzai to Karakura Town to fight against the Arrancar army headed by Aizen. The opponent you met was the first Espada Stark. You and Jaishur Yukatake fought fiercely with Stark. Ultimately, you killed Stark with the aid of Zanpakutō Kaikotsu's Shikai ability. At this time, Stark's own mood didn't fluctuate much, which was very normal. But he also said lightly, that guy really doesn't talk about martial arts. But Lily Knight was extremely furious, her eyes were on fire, and she kept pointing at Jingle in the distance and cursing. Old yin ratio, resistance. Jingle in the distance shrugged, as if I couldn't blame it all. Jingle's fighting philosophy is more inclined to do whatever it takes to win. And his Zanpakutō Kaikotsu is also relatively yin, so his fighting style is not very martial arts. Chiba, you then besieged Aizen with the captains of the Godai 13 and some members of the Masked Legion. But those of you who were hit by Kaika Suijutsu had no chance of winning, and were severely injured by Aizen. 1 year and 5 months after the end of the Karakura Town War, you followed all the captains and vice-captains of Godai 13 to imbue their respective Ryutsu, and assisted Urahara Kisuk to make the spiritual sword that helped Ichigo restore Shinigami power. The above is your main past. Chiba has finished calculating the past for Jingle, and the next step is the future. Chapter 73. Chiba's fortune-telling is very accurate. After several fortune-tellings, some people who were still skeptical were completely convinced. Therefore, they also look forward to Chiba's calculation of the future, and want to know or explore more things about the future from fortune-telling. With Chiba's thought, he gave Kiraku an immersive effect. Jingle himself had no time to react, and fell into a strange state. He couldn't help being a little shocked and sighed in his heart. close-ups. It's unbelievable. People in the immersive state will experience what Chiba says. 1 month later, a powerful enemy invaded Shirai, and Godi 13 was caught off guard and suffered heavy casualties. Chiba has said this many times, and everyone in Shinigami basically knows that a strong enemy will invade Shirai in a month. However, listening is completely different from actually feeling. At this moment, Jingle seems to be in Shirai a month later. He saw the corpses of Shinigami soldiers in disorder, and even several Shinigami captains or vice-captains who were seriously injured and defeated. Shirai 1, devastated. Jingle has seen and felt it all for himself. Not only that, but an enemy appeared in front of Kiraku. Chiba, you're facing an incredibly fast enemy who wields a pistol as a weapon. In the original book, at the beginning of the Millennium Bloody Battle, Jingle faced Robert Agitron, Holy Text and Network Jump. This Quincy master has very old qualifications, fast speed, and strong comprehensive strength. You were accidentally blinded in one eye by the opponent, and then you were distracted from the battle, and you were caught by the opponent and shot several times in a row and were seriously injured. Jing Le, who was immersed in the scene, was blinded in one eye by the extremely fast enemy. Then he was distracted by something, and was shot several times by his opponent, and was seriously injured. Hearing this, everyone in Shinigami felt very incredible. The leader of the Beijing band was blinded in one eye by the opponent. He was seriously injured again? The enemy is too powerful. Renji sighed in disbelief. You know, Jing Le is a veteran captain, whether it is direct combat power or combat experience, he can definitely be regarded as the best among captains. But it was still severely injured by the unknown enemy. It really made Renji and the others feel unbelievable. Even more so with Shishiro. Under normal circumstances, how can Le be distracted when fighting? Shishiro muttered to himself, he couldn't figure it out. It would be understandable if Jing Le was careless the first time, and then was blinded by the other party at a very fast speed. However, after that, Jingle was distracted for the second time, and was shot several times by the opponent and was seriously injured. This is very inappropriate. Logically speaking, this kind of thing shouldn't happen with Jingle's character and fighting power. So what is it that distracts someone like Kiraku from fighting? Stark scratched his head and said, even if it's a sneak attack or something, being able to beat that old Yinbai like this is enough to show the strength of that enemy. Stark and Jingle have fought against each other, and they know Jingle's strength better than ordinary people. The fact that the enemy Chiba mentioned was able to blind Jingle in one eye and severely damage Jingle is enough to prove the strength of the enemy. Lilynet laughed very happily, ha ha ha, that guy of yours also has a day, he deserves it. Ha ha ha, let you sneak attack, you have also been sneak attacked by the enemy ha ha ha. Lilynet gloated and was extremely happy. Ulquiera always looked indifferent, while Yami was somewhat disdainful and mocked. It's not a good habit to be distracted during the battle. I've lived for hundreds of years and still make this mistake, Shinigami, it seems that I think highly of you. Everyone in the Shinigami frowned slightly, their expressions dignified. And what Chiba said next made them feel as if they were struck by lightning, and they were horrified to the extreme. You survived the serious injuries, and were appointed as the captain of Godi 13 by room 46. Jingle, who was immersed in the scene, received the letter of appointment from the 46 room. Appoint Kiraku Shunsui as Godi 13's head captain, starting immediately. Chiba's words were so shocking that everyone here was shocked. Shishiro had an unbelievable expression on his face, this, how is it possible? Jingle became the captain of the team? What about Mr. Motori Yusai? This, impossible. Anoka also had a look of horror on his face, could it be that Captain Yamamoto? Anoka didn't finish her sentence because she couldn't speak either. Even Byakuya's eyes narrowed in surprise. Did Captain Yamamoto really die at that time? Generally speaking, the replacement of the captain in Gōdei 13 is to produce a new successor after the death of the previous captain. Doesn't the fact that Jingle becomes the captain of Gōdei 13 mean that the captain of Yamamoto has died? Just kidding, how could Captain Yamamoto die? Who can beat him? Is this impossible? Neither Renji nor Rukia could believe the result. Asking for flowers. Captain Yamamoto is the strongest, pure, Shinigami in the millennium, the Shinigami's ceiling-like character, who sits in Shirai for 1,000 or 2,000 years, is like the Dingai Shenzhen, and has no enemies. Field. However, the nearly invincible Captain Yamamoto will die in battle in the future. Everyone in Shinigami couldn't believe this kind of thing. The old man will die in battle? No way. It is also difficult for Ichigo and others to accept this result. But with Chiba's fortune-telling skills, how can he waste time by joking about this matter? The three subordinate officers of Holly Bell instinctively trembled at this moment. They thought of the scene where Captain Yamamoto used Rijinjaka to instantly kill him during the Karakura town battle. If Captain Yamamoto hadn't been merciful at the beginning, they would have been reduced to ashes under the flames of Rijinjaka. I really didn't expect that the scary old man would die too. How powerful are those enemies? 0. They couldn't believe that someone could kill Captain Yamamoto. Senior Chiba, will Captain Yamamoto really die in battle in the future? Senior Chiba, please tell me. Renji got down on one knee and begged Chiba for an answer. The other Shinigami also asked Chiba to inform in detail whether Captain Yamamoto would die in battle. Chiba just glanced at the Shinigami people indifferently, without changing his tone, and asked flatly, "Did I not understand enough just now? Kurako Shunsui became the captain of Gōdei 13, what more do you need from me?" Chiba has made that very clear. Will Yamamoto Immortal Jingle become the captain? Certainly not. These people just find this result too unbelievable. However, one more thing to add. I predicted the original future trajectory, but after you met me, your original future trajectory has more or less changed. Whether the future remains the same depends on you. What Chiba calculates is the original future of everyone. But the future will change. For example, Byakuya's strength has improved a lot. 1 month later, when he meets Ace Knot, he should not be hanged to the brink of death. One hair will affect the whole body, and the future of many people will be changed because of Chiba. It is hard to say whether something will happen in the future. Everyone understands this truth, but the fact that Jingle will replace Yamamoto as the captain of Gōdei 13 in the future still makes everyone look extremely dignified. The enemy is stronger than they thought. Even Captain Yamamoto may die in battle. Chapter 74. What kind of powerful enemy is it that can defeat Sensei Genryuzai? Shishiro frowned. As his disciple, he knew how powerful Captain Yamamoto was. Under normal circumstances, no one would dare to face Captain Yamamoto directly. Even Aizen had to get a fire-extinguishing Prince Wanda Wise to seal Rijinjaka. Could it be Aizen? Shishiro couldn't help thinking of Aizen. Although Aizen is being imprisoned in the infernal hell at this time, what if he escapes? Although Yamamoto's captain is strong, Aizen has fully merged with Hōgyoku, and even Ryutsuo is beyond the Shinigami limit. Shishiro thinks that Aizen is most likely to defeat and kill Captain Yamamoto. However, Urahara shook his head, it should not be Aizen. Aizen is in the infernal hell, and there are dozens of 703 seals in his body, and even he cannot break it alone. And Urahara narrowed his eyes slightly. If he wanted to kill us, he would have already done so during the Karakura town battle. Hearing Urahara's words, everyone was taken aback. Yes, Aizen wiped out Gōdei 13 when they were in Karakura town. If they really wanted to kill them, they probably wouldn't be alive now. So Aizen will not take this blame. It should still be those enemies. Byakuya's eyes sharpened. 1 month later, the enemies who invaded Shirai are very strong, and some of them may confront Captain Yamamoto head-on. Chiba also said in fortune-telling before that the enemy leader attacked the Soul King Palace and killed the Soul King, and the Soul Society gradually collapsed. The Spirit King can be killed, and the death of Captain Yamamoto is not so unbelievable. At this time, Unohana awakened everyone. Do you still remember that in addition to the strange abilities, the enemy seems to be able to control Bankai? When Chiba told Byakuya's fortune before, he said that Byakuya was seriously injured by the enemy's Senbonzakura. Everyone in Shinigami understands that the enemy has the ability to control Shinigami Bankai. Actually snatch and use. If those enemies can actually control Bankai, that's a real possibility. Ichigo et al. Suddenly realized. Shinigami's Bankai can be said to be Shinigami's strongest and most important fighting method. If Bankai is controlled by the opponent, its strength will definitely drop. For example, in the previous Karakura town battle, Yamamoto's captain was sealed Region Jaka, and Aizen could easily defeat him. Therefore, at the moment, everyone in Shinigami agrees with Unohana's point of view. Captain Yamamoto and so many other Shinigami captains lost miserably, probably because Bankai was manipulated by the opponent. It was a combination of trade-offs and defeats. Chiba did not respond to their guesses, but continued to tell fortunes. Kurako Shunsui, you did two things after becoming the captain. 1. Let Unohana teach Zaraki Kenpachi swordsmanship, and the two will have a life and death duel at the bottom of hell, and finally Zaraki Kenpachi survived. Hearing that Kenpachi and Unohana are engaged in a life and death battle in infernal hell, everyone except Unohana, Renji, and Rukia are surprised. Shishiro, Byakuya, and Unohana were also surprised at first, but soon figured out some reasons. Captain Yamamoto died in battle, and no one in Godai 13 can suppress Unohana, which is a potential threat. Jingle or the 46 rooms at that time found a cunning way to teach Kenpachi how to practice swords. Eliminating Unohana can remove the threat and at the same time increase Kenpachi's strength, so that he can better kill the enemy in the future. Unohana herself just smiled at the moment, and didn't care much about it. In the original book, she died because she helped Kenpachi unseal the power, but she completed her mission voluntarily and happily. But what? Because of Chiba, Unohana will not fight Kenpachi in the future. It has already been fought in fortune-telling, and Kenpachi's power has also been unblocked. Chiba saved Unohana in the fortune-telling. Next, the second thing Chiba said shocked everyone to ultimate. Second thing, you went to hell and released Aizen-suke. Everyone was shocked and unbelievable at the same time. Kurako actually released Aizen. You know, Aizen is the traitor of Godai 13, the enemy, the evil one. At the beginning, it was relying on Ichigo's cheating and Unohana's kid seal to capture Aizen and imprison him in infernal hell. But after Jingle became the captain, she even went to Wujian to release Aizen. Okay? If it doesn't work out, it will be burned directly, and it can't be sent back if it is released. Ichigo's eyes widened in disbelief, and he said in a daze, release that guy Aizen? The leader of the Beijing band, isn't it? Ichigo felt scared for a while. He doesn't want to face an enemy like Aizen for the second time, because it's too damn hard to fight. Unohana muttered to himself, is the leader of the Beijing band trying to borrow the power of Aizen? Use the power of Aizen to help Shirai defend against the enemy. Unohana guessed right. In the original book, Jingle released Aizen just to use Aizen's power. Without the influence of Aizen, Ichigo and other Shinigami, there would be no Yhwach. Aizen can be said to be one of the main heroes of the final battle. However, this kind of thing is not accepted by everyone in Shinigami. Many Shinigami value honor above all else. Unohana, using the power of Aizen-suke, I still feel very uncomfortable. Byakuya's face was silent. This kind of behavior is a blasphemy against us and a shame to Shinigami. Renji also nodded, yet, no matter what, that guy Aizen shouldn't be released. What if he, what to do? Unohana and Yoriyuki were silent, looking very dignified. They knew that Jingle released Aizen from the infernal hell, not out of recklessness, but because there was really no other way. If it is not released, the Shirai will be gone, so why talk about honor or not? Chiba continued, after you released Aizen-suke, you received opposition from many Shinigami. But you don't care, because you know that Shinigami's face alone cannot protect the court. 4.6 And after stepping on the battlefield, everyone is a sin, and it is not impossible to use evil to defeat evil. Jingle is quite charming. He won't stick to form like many Shinigami, the issue of face and glory can be put aside, let's protect Shirai first. Byakuya and the others were silent. Although they are still ashamed of Kiraku for releasing Aizen and using Aizen's power to fend off the enemy, they can't refute anything. After all, if you can defeat the enemy without releasing Aizen, why would you and Le do it? Isn't it impossible to do this? They have their own reasons, and if you want to blame them, Shinigami is too weak to deal with the enemy, and you have to rely on Aizen. Chiba, afterwards, you and all the Shinigami board the Soul King Palace and have a decisive battle with the enemy. Chapter 75. Everyone had heard from Chiba before that the enemy would attack the Soul King Palace, and even the leader of the enemy would kill the Soul King and cause the Soul Society to collapse. Therefore, this fortune-telling said that Jingle and the Shinigami went to the Soul King Palace to fight the enemy. Everyone not very surprised, more dignified and worried. How powerful are these enemies who can defeat Godai 13 and board the Soul King Palace, and even kill the Soul King in the end? What is the outrageous heaven-defying ability? Chiba calmly said, after you boarded the Lingwang Palace, in order to cover the progress of your teammates, you stayed alone to deal with an enemy with a sniper rifle. Quincy with a sniper rifle? When everyone heard this, they couldn't help but show incredible expressions. Who are these guys? It's fear, imagination, miracles, or pistols and sniper rifles. It's so strange. Renji and Ichigo looked puzzled. They are really a little confused. Shinigami mainly rely on Zanpakutō to fight, and Su rely more on their own strength. Quincy uses bows and arrows. However, the enemies, abilities and weapons told by the Chiba fortune teller are so strange that it is difficult for Shinigami to understand. 31. Sniper rifle. Ichimaru-jin and Yami were slightly taken aback. They also saw that when Chiba instantly killed Zamari, he transformed into a sniper rifle. The sniper rifle fired a spiritual bullet, which instantly exploded Zomali's head. Does Chiba's sniper rifle have anything to do with that enemy's abilities? Ichimaru-jin and Yami couldn't help being suspicious, but they didn't dare to ask, they only dared to guess for themselves. While everyone held their breath, Chiba revealed the enemy's ability. The ability of the enemy holding the sniper rifle is to penetrate everything. At the muzzle of the gun, the bullets fired will penetrate everything. Everything connects through everything. In an instant, everyone felt like they were breaking out in cold sweat. Isn't the ability to penetrate all things too strong? If it can penetrate all defenses, wouldn't it be unstoppable? It can only be avoided. This is almost the meaning of the original work. Jibaro, as the captain of Yubaka's personal guard, has the ability to penetrate all things. After being strengthened by Yubaka's resurrection, he killed several members of the Zero Division including Wu Wanjiu in one shot. It can be seen how outrageous the ability to connect everything is. You deliberately exposed yourself within range of the enemy in order to lure out his hiding place. You then use the tumbler game to get behind the enemy. Although the opponent detects and escapes in an emergency, his sniper rifle has been cut in two. Hearing this, Renji and others immediately became excited. Worthy of being the leader of the Beijing band, he is amazing. He cut the enemy's weapon in half as soon as he made a move. Then without the weapon, the enemy's ability to penetrate everything can't be activated, right? It's much easier to fight, right? Renji and the others thought that after the enemy's weapon was cut off, they should not be able to fire bullets that penetrated everything. But they think too much. Quincy's weapons are different from Shinigami's Zanpakutō. Quincy's weapons are all made of spirit particles, and they can be repaired with spirit particles at any time if they are broken. Chiba, the other party, repaired the weapon in an instant. You played a game of the tumbler fell with him, and the two fought again. The tumbler falls is one of the abilities of Kenpachi Shikai of Kyoraku. However, Jibaro in the original book had previously obtained information about the Zanpakutō abilities of Shinigami's many captains, given by Yamamoto, and easily cracked the tumbler to avoid Yuan Li's shadow and injured Jingle's left foot. The enemy cracked your roly-poly game and wounded your left foot. All dead Chendo was taken aback. Even Star K on the other side was a little surprised. Jingle's Shikai ability is hard to defend against, but the enemy can dodge the ability of the tumbler and even wound Jingle. Isn't it incredible? Unohana frowned slightly, thinking, could it be that these enemies know the ability of each of our Shinigami captains Zanpakutō? Unohana thinks this guess is more reasonable. The enemy is in the dark and they are in the light, and it seems not surprising that the enemy can know the abilities of the main members of their Shinigami party. Chiba, you reacted quickly, using the afterimage of the shadow to suppress the enemy for a while, and after a short circle, 10 knives pierced the enemy's body. Did you win? All the Shinigami were excited and nervous again. According to the normal situation, Jing Le pierced the enemy's body with one knife, and the enemy was almost dead. As with Shinigami or Star K before it, being bayoneted is almost fatal. However, how could these destroyers be so simple? The opponent used his ability and explained that it was not your blade that pierced his body, but his body pierced your blade. The opponent has used a new form. You are suppressed, you can only flee for a while, and you are cornered. Everyone in Shinigami swallowed involuntarily, looking terrified. The enemy's ability is too big, right? The knife pierces the enemy's body, but the enemy's body penetrates the knife? The enemy unscathed and suppressed Jingle to a desperate situation? Chiba, you ended up using the solved Kenpachi Black Pine Heart after making sure no one else was around. Almost everyone here except Shishiro has heard of Kyoraku's Bankai for the first time. Kenpachi? Is this the guy's Bankai? Sounds strong. Star K scratched his head. He'd wanted to meet Kyoraku's Bankai back in the Karakura town battle. But because Jingle's Bankai is not suitable for use when there are many people on one side, it will hurt allies, and because Star K's strength was not too strong at the time, it has not been able to force out Jingle's Bankai. Now Star K heard 057 talk about Jingle's Bankai, although he still doesn't understand the specific ability, but he feels very strong. Chiba didn't explain Kyoraku Bankai's abilities in detail, but simply described the battle process. The cold and powerful Ryutsu enveloped a corner of the Lingwang Palace. You used Bankai's first 3 moves to severely damage the enemy, and finally cut the enemy's throat with the final move. It's just that the enemy can't judge with common sense. The enemy resurrected and seriously injured you. In the end, you and the adjutant Ise Nanao, the two of you used the divine artifact 8 mirror sword together, rebounded the enemy's power, crushed it, and shot down the Lingwang Palace. The battle is over. The above is your approximate future. After the fortune-telling, Tianye slowly opened his eyes. Congratulations to the host for completing the fortune-telling for Kyoraku Shunsui, rewarding you with 400 days of fortune. This time the fortune-telling Jingle and the fortune-telling Shishiro both got 400 days of machine value, which is still very good. As for the Shinigami people, they also slowly recovered from what Chiba said about the battle between Jingle and the enemy that penetrates all things, although their faces were full of shock. Kyoraku himself also woke up from the immersive state. When he woke up, the captain's Haori and flowered cloak were soaked with sweat. One can imagine how difficult and thrilling it was for him to fight that enemy in the immersive environment. If it weren't for the artifact 8 mirror sword, Shinigami and the others would probably have nothing to do against Jibaro. Chapter 76. In Shinigami, generally speaking, after the character survives the battle of life and death, it will become more or less stronger. This time, Jingle had a fierce confrontation with the enemy with the ability to penetrate everything in the immersive state of Chiba's fortune-telling. Coupled with the promotion effect of Chiba's finishing touch, Jingle's own Ryutsu and fighting skills have a little promote. Of course, compared to the qualitative improvement of Renji and Byakuya, the improvement is much smaller. One is that Jingle's strength is relatively strong, and the room for improvement is relatively small, and the other is that Jingle did not go to the Lingwang Palace to practice and was not strengthened. Yet, what a horrible fellow! Jingle took a deep breath and put back his bamboo hat. He narrowed his eyes slightly, and his face was very solemn. Is the identity of those guys really? It's ridiculously strong. During the fortune-telling, Jing Le did not see clearly the appearance of the enemy he was fighting with, and yet did not reveal the detailed identity of the enemy. But Jingle's mind is very careful and clever, he had guessed the identities of those enemies before. Among those enemies, apart from Quincy, who had a death feud with Shinigami, Jingle couldn't think of anyone else. It's just that in Shinigami's impression and records, isn't Quincy fighting with bows and arrows? Just like Ishida Uryu next to Ichigo. However, the Quincy's mentioned by Chiba all have different powers, and they don't even use bows and arrows very much. It feels completely different from before. It made Jingle wonder whether those enemies who invaded Siritai a month later were Quincy divisions? Ignoring what everyone in Shinigami was thinking, Chiba spoke lightly. Take out the 8-mirror sword, and I will erase the curse on it for you. Chiba's tone was very flat, but it surprised Jingle and Shishiro. Chiba knows the secret of the curse on the 8-mirror sword. Chiba is omniscient. In the original book, the Ise family is a family of priests, in charge of sacrifices, and shoulders the mission of guarding the god Kenpachi mirror sword. The Ise family is a matriarchal family. According to records, all newborns of the family are female. In order to continue the blood, they can only recruit son-in-law from outside. And the men who enter the Ise family will die young because of the family's curse. In order to break the curse, Ise Nanao's mother planned to sever ties with her natal family after marriage, so she violated the tradition of successive generations of Ise family members to continue the family by recruiting husbands and sons-in-law, and married Kurako Shunsui's elder brother, and gave birth to Nanao. But Kiguzu's father still couldn't escape the power of the curse, and still passed away not long after marriage. In the end, Nanao's mother chose to give the god Kenpachi mirror sword to Jingle to keep Nanao from the bad luck of the curse. The safekeeping belongs to the safekeeping, but the power of the curse on the 8-mirror sword is still there. Chiba can be a good person to the end, erasing the power of the curse on the 8-mirror sword. Kurako took a deep breath and pulled out the Zanpakutō decisively. Flowers are fluttering in the wind, the flower gods are singing, the wind in the sky is chaotic, and the demons in the sky are laughing, Kaiten Kaikotsu. After Shikai, Kaiten Kaikotsu, became a large and a small 2 double swords. In fact, the smaller one is the 8-mirror sword. Jingle handed the Bajingjian to Chiba, and said in a deep voice, Mr. Chiba, please, I thank you on behalf of my late brother and sister-in-law. It would be great if Chiba could really erase the curse on the 8-mirror sword. After understanding the wish of Jingle's eldest brother and sister-in-law, Ise Nanao will not be cursed again in the future and can live a normal life. All eyes were on Chiba and the 8-mirror sword in front of Chiba. I saw Chiba slowly raised his left hand, and lightly tapped the 8-mirror sword with his left hand. In an instant, a black air full of evil aura appeared in the 8-mirror sword. The moment this black air appeared, everyone felt evil and wanted to vomit. Jing Le and the others knew that this should be the curse that haunted the Ise family for generations in the 8-mirror sword. After this evil black energy was drawn out by Chiba, he even wanted to attack Chiba. The evil black air went straight to Chiba's eyebrows at an extremely fast speed, trying to get into Yi's body. Master Chiba! Senior Chiba! This sudden scene shocked everyone. But the speed of the black air was too fast, they couldn't help Chiba stop it at all. Chiba looked as usual, and snorted coldly, "Get lost." I saw a purple super high temperature flame appearing out of thin air, and the evil black energy that was approaching was instantly burned to nothing. You know, Chiba has now surpassed the limits of Shinigami and Su, and reached a higher level. And there are several extremely powerful powers added to the body, including omniscience and omnipotence. Dare to contaminate him with a mere curse? Overwhelmed. As a result, the power of the curse on the 8-mirror sword was easily erased by Chiba. "Okay, put it away," Chiba said lightly. Jingle recovered from the surprise and nodded, "Thank you very much, Mr. Chiba. The power of the curse has been wiped away, and I will feel relieved to hand the 8-mirror sword to Xiao Kigzu in the future." Kiraku is very grateful to Chiba. It was Chiba's handy move, which solved the curse of the ISE family for thousands of years. Jingle can be regarded as having completely fulfilled her sister-in-law's entrustment, and she can safely hand over the 8-mirror sword to Ise Nanao in the future, and at the same time, it will not cause any curse influence on Ise Nanao. Chiba's casual actions have such a huge impact. Of course, for Chiba himself, this is just a trivial thing for his guests. "Okay, it's up to you next." Chiba's eyes fell on Ichigo and his party. Chiba has done fortune-telling for Byakuya, Jushiro, and Kiraku, and Ichigo and his party must be next. And this immediately made Ichigo and his party tremble. In fact, Chiba's eyes seemed to be under a lot of pressure, and that kind of aura made them a little breathless for a while. Before that, Chiba called on Urziola to Rear Admiral Ichigo and Yulong to bring them. Why did Ichigo and Uryu have to be brought here? Because Ichigo is the main character in the original book, and he is one of the strongest ones. Although Yulong is only a weak machine now, he has great potential. The holy character A is completely reversed, and even Yuhabaka's holy belief can be completely offset. Telling fortunes to these two people will definitely get a lot of secret value. Without further ado, Chiba said directly to Ichigo, "Let's start with you, Kurosaki Ichigo." Ichigo didn't seem to be ready yet, so he panicked and stammered. "Me? Tell my fortune? How about Ishida, come first?" Yulong immediately scolded angrily, he said, "You count first, you first, what are you running away from, Kurosaki?" Renji and Rukia on the other side rolled their eyes when they saw Ichigo's cowardice. "Renji, Ichigo, you are such a shame, when did you return to your mother-in-law? I really want to avenge my personal revenge and beat you up. Ha ha ha. Rukia, Ichigo, be brave like a man and accept Chiba-senpai's fortune-telling bravely. Renji, Rukia, you two guys, wait for me." An anger symbol appeared on Ichigo's forehead. Immediately, Ichigo took a deep breath and looked at Chiba earnestly, "Mr. Chiba, please help me do the math. In fact, I still don't know many things about myself, also a little confused about the future." Ichigo's words are true. Even now, he doesn't fully know his life experience, what will happen to his future. Sometimes he also feels a little confused. Ichigo touched his pocket, and actually took out a piece of Karakura Town's soul coin from his pocket, and gave it to Chiba as divination money. Chiba nodded, then looked at Ichigo, and slowly said, "Your situation is a bit special, I will tell you your life experience first, after you know your life experience, you can understand some things better." Hearing Chiba's words, Urahara and Yoryuki hesitated, but finally said nothing. They also knew about Ichigo's life experience, but they never told Ichigo. Now that Chiba wants to tell Ichigo about his background, Urahara and Yoryuki can't stop it, and probably shouldn't. After all, Chiba has Chiba's own reasons for doing this. Ichigo can better understand himself and certain things after knowing his own life experience. Of course, Urahara and Yoryuki also understand that even if Chiba doesn't tell, Ichigo will definitely know his life experience in the future. It's just the difference between knowing early and knowing late. Chiba spoke slowly and explained to everyone present. It's just that the abnormal protrusion is still there. I saw a black palm suddenly appearing on Ichigo's body, which is invisible to others except Chiba. This smear of black interferes with Ichigo himself, so that Ichigo can't hear Chiba's voice at all. The same is true for other people. Under the interference of this black palm that suddenly appeared, they couldn't even hear what Chiba said. Chiba immediately noticed the strangeness and stopped talking. At the same time, his eyes became sharper, and he snorted coldly. Even dare to interfere with my fortune-telling, I think you are bored. Ichibe Hisub. Chapter 77. The mutation protruded, as if an invisible black hand blackened Ichigo's hearing, so that Ichigo couldn't hear what Chiba was talking about. The same is true for others, their hearing seems to be cut off, and they can't hear Chiba's voice. What's going on here? Is there something wrong with my hearing? Ichigo looked confused and rubbed his ears, but found that he still couldn't hear what Chiba said. Even more strange to Ichigo and others, they can hear everything but Chiba. Only Chiba's voice can't be heard. Other than that there is nothing abnormal. Senior Chiba, what's wrong with him? I feel like he's talking, but we can't hear his voice, it's weird. Renji and Rukia looked at each other, they could clearly see Chiba's lips moving, but they couldn't hear Chiba's voice. The same is true for other people. I don't know what happened to Chiba, why he opened his mouth, but the sound didn't reach their ears. Moreover, everyone can clearly see that Chiba's face is a little cold and angry at this time. This is the first time ever. This made many people suddenly silent. Although I don't know what's going on, but with Chiba's ability, will he have a million corpses in a fit of anger? Chiba looked cold, and snorted coldly, Ichibe Hisub, live 110,000 years, I think you are tired of living. Chiba raised his left hand indifferently, and gently squeezed the invisible black hand in front of Ichigo. At the same time, above Siritai, inside the palace of the Spirit King, the bushy-eyed Ichibe Hisub was sitting in his hall, and he patted his big, naked head. It's so dangerous, so dangerous. 037 almost let Kurosaki Ichigo know his life experience. Now is not the time to let him know. Without the instructions of Lord Ling Wang, you should be buried in the dark forever, just like you are now. Don't know what your Zanpakutō is, just keep thinking of yourself as a Shinigami. The monk was talking to himself, his eyes seemed to see everything about Ichigo. In fact, Ichigo has been noticed by the monk since he was born. Because Ichigo's name, Kurosaki Ichigo, has the word black in it. And all the blacks in this world belong to monks. Originally, within Chiba's shop, all outside investigations were blocked, and fortune-telling events and fluctuations were not spread to the outside. It's just that when Chiba told Ichigo's fortune, he was noticed by the monk because of the black in Ichigo's name, and because of the particularity of Ichigo's identity. The monk didn't seem to want Ichigo to know his life experience, so he blocked it. Just like Ichigo had just practiced when he was in the Urahara shop, when Ichigo entered the inner world of Zanpakutō, he met Yamamoto when he was young. Yamamoto wanted to tell Ichigo his name, but Ichigo couldn't hear him at all because Yamamoto's name was discredited by the monk. Ultimately, for various reasons, Ichigo identified his friend Yamamoto as Zanpakutō Zangetsu, which continues to this day. Now the monk still continues to intervene, trying to conceal and deceive Ichigo. By the way, who is that Chiba guy? I can't figure it out. Ichibe Hisub's expression was a little moody, his pupils turned red, and the aura of his whole face was completely different from the previous harmless to humans and animals monk image, becoming terrifying and gloomy. He is the backbone of Team Zero. He claims to be the leader of Shinigami. He has lived for 10,000 years. He names everything in Soul Society and knows many things in the lower world. It can be said to be an extremely powerful and mysterious existence. But he can't see or understand Chiba at all. Chiba seems to appear out of nowhere, and then possesses incomparably powerful power out of nowhere. Although I don't know what Chiba's specific ability is, but Ichibe Hisub thinks that Chiba's power must be very scary, because... Puff! Ichibe Hisub suddenly spat out a big mouthful of blood, which stained the floor of the Lingwang Palace red. He can actually detect my existence and crush my will, what a terrible guy. The invisible black hand that Ichibe Hisub used just now with the help of the black power on Ichigo was crushed by Chiba, and Ichibe Hisub was hurt. You must know that Ichibe Hisub, as the leader of the Shinigami, has lived for 10,000 years, and his power is already in the category of the rule system, which is difficult for ordinary people to deal with. But Chiba just squeezed his black power to explode. One can imagine how powerful Chiba is. Ichibe Hisub was thinking about Chiba. Fortune-telling, appearing out of thin air, powerful power. However, he still couldn't see through Chiba. He muttered to himself, could it be, does he have some kind of history beyond me? Thinking of this, the monk shook his head selfishly. Thinking that this is impossible, in this world, for hundreds of 10,000 years, except for the Spirit King, there has never been a power beyond him. Although I don't know who you are, Kurosaki Ichigo is inextricably linked with the Soul King. In order to ensure that everything is under control, I cannot let you reveal Kurosaki Ichigo's life experience. After Ichibe Hisub finished speaking, his eyes turned completely white, the eyeballs disappeared, and a horrible and ultimate aura suddenly emerged from his body. Under this breath, everything in Soul Society seems to be coated with a layer of ink like black. The monk shouted loudly, Kyunli, Abug, Tongtian Palm. Immediately, a gigantic palm appeared and slapped towards where Chiba was. The speed of this palm is almost invisible, and it appeared above Chiba's shop in the blink of an eye. It seems that Chiba and the shop can be smashed into pieces in the next moment. The monk's Kyunli Tongtian palm is extremely powerful. In the original book, the General Yuhabak almost slapped him off the Lingwang Palace. The monk is merciless in order to prevent Chiba from revealing the secret about Ichigo. Seeing the huge palm that suddenly appeared, everyone in the Chiba shop, Arankar and Shinigami, looked horrified. Isn't it? The one from Lingwang Palace made the move. Damn, where did this palm come from? Is this trying to shoot us to death? No, the main target of this palm is Senior Chiba. Block it, black-winged demon. Catch him, pack of wolves. Jingle and Jushiro pulled Rukia, Renji, and others back for a distance in an instant to avoid being affected by the 1,000-mile Tongtian palm. Jingle, Byakuya, and Urahara could tell from the 1,000-li Tongtian palm that it was the monk from the Lingwang Palace who made the move. Although they don't understand why the monk suddenly interfered with the affairs of the lower realm, why did he attack Chiba? Is it because of Ichigo? Arankar such as Ulquiorra and Starkei performed returning blades, wanting to protect Chiba and block the Kyunli Tongtian palm that was close at hand. However, Chiba slightly raised his hand to signal them to stop. I'll do it myself. Chiba stood up slowly, a Zanpakutō suddenly appeared out of nowhere at his waist. The moment he pulled out Zanpakutō, the blade of Zanpakutō was bursting with purple flames. The temperature here suddenly rose by dozens of degrees, and it became extremely hot. Jingle and all the Shinigami were shocked. This is the old man's Rijinjaka. Jingle and others recognized that the Zanpakutō in Chiba's hand is Rijinjaka. Rijinjaka is the same as Yamamoto's captain. No, or not the same. Chiba's Rijinjaka's flame color is purple, and there is no Shikai yet. The flame temperature seems to reach the level of Yamamoto's Captain Shikai. Impossible, the temperature of this Rijinjaka is even more terrifying than that of Old Man Shan. All the Shinigami including Kiraku and Jushiro were shocked to the core. And Chiba just waved the Rijinjaka in his hand, and indifferently slashed at the palm of Kyunli Tongtian coming from above. The incomparably powerful Kyunli Tongtian palm was cut in half by Chiba in an instant, and the wound was full of scorching marks. In an instant, half of the size of the Tongtian palm was burned off. It can be seen how terrifying the temperature of Rijinjaka in Chiba is. Solved the Kunli Tongtian Palm, but it can't just forget it. Although Chiba claims to be a good person and is relatively approachable, anyone who dares to offend him will have to pay the corresponding price. The monk dared to interfere with his fortune-telling for Ichigo, and even dared to use Kunli Tongtian Palm on him. Chiba must return the gift. Chiba looked silent. The powerful Ryotsu emanating from his body made all the Shinigami and glass noodles in the shop dazzled. Because Chiba's Ryotsu is truly terrifying, definitely beyond the limits of Shinigami and Hollow, to a higher level. Everything is turned to ashes. Region Jaka. Chiba Shikai Zanpakutō. Region Jaka's sword blazes with purple flames. Everyone in the shop feels that Chiba is like a sun, making it difficult for others to bear the extremely high temperature, and even dare not look directly at it. Chiba holds the Region Jaka in his hand and gazes into the distant sky. That's above Siritii, which is the direction of the Spirit King's palace. Come and don't reciprocate. Chiba waved the Region Jaka in his hands, and stared in the direction of the distant Lingwang Palace in silence. Chapter 78. Everyone just feels that Chiba is like a sun, scorching everything, and everyone is in the heat. This feeling, this temperature is definitely not wrong, it is the same Region Jaka as the old man Shan. The expressions of Jing Li and the others were shocked to the extreme. No one except Unohana, Renji, and Rukia knew that Chiba had Zanpakutō Region Jaka. Now Chiba drew his sword out of its sheath, and cut in half with the menacing Kunli Tongtian. Shikai then swung in the direction of the Lingwang Palace, a knife. This is a slash full of purple flames, slashing towards the Lingwang Palace like a crescent moon. No. Shishiro was shocked. Because of the heat, beads of sweat covered half of his cheeks. He said in a deep voice, Chiba, Region Jaka's Shikai flame, is much stronger than Genryuzai's Shikai. Jushiro's words shocked Ichigo, Unohana, and others. Yamamoto Genryuzai is known as the strongest Shinigami in the millennium, the Dingaishinzen of Godei 13, and his Region Jaka is so powerful that it seems to be able to burn everything. But Shishiro could clearly feel that the temperature of the purple flame after Chiba's Region Jaka Shikai was far higher than that of Yamamoto's Shikai. Because Shishiro was too shocked, he still didn't say a word. That is, Chiba's Shikai is probably already comparable to Yamamoto's Bankai. Also Region Jaka, but Shikai is comparable to Bankai. This is natural. Because Chiba's own Ryotsu has been fully integrated with Hōgyoku, breaking through the Shinigami limit and reaching a higher level. Moreover, Chiba also has power bonuses such as omniscience and omnipotence. When he uses Region Jaka, its power is naturally more terrifying than the pure Shinigami limit of Yamamoto Genryuzai, 1 or 2 grades stronger. It's terrible. Region Jaka from Chiba is too scary. I feel like the water in my body is evaporating uncontrollably. Renji Etal's skin became dry and chapped due to the evaporation of water, and even their throats felt a burning pain. This is all due to the influence of Chiba Shikai Region Jaka. Ichigo gritted his teeth and desperately used Ryotsu to resist the heat, but it didn't work. Why is his Zanpakutō also a Region Jaka? Doesn't the Soul Society not have 2 identical Zanpakutō except in special cases? And what happened to that huge hand just now? Who is Ichibe Hisub? Ichigo felt very confused at this moment. What happened in such a short time was too shocking and puzzling. Unohana, Yoruaki, Byakuya, and others looked worried and watched Yasuo's new blow with concern. Could it be, the Lingwang Palace will really be cut down? The hearts of Unohana and the others rose to their throats. They knew that Chiba's attack was aimed at the Soul King's palace, and Region Jaka Shikai's attack was too powerful. Maybe the Soul King's palace would really be split in half by Chiba. If Chiba really cut down the Lingwang Palace, it will definitely have a great impact on Jinglingting. But this can't be blamed for Chiba's ruthlessness. It was the monk who made the move first, and if he dared to interfere with his fortune-telling, he would have to pay the price. Chiba's slashing speed is extremely fast. The place where it passes is like molten lava passing through the border. Everything is burned and turned into ashes in an instant. Fortunately, Chiba's target was the Lingwang Palace. This slash was galloping in the air, far from the ground, except for the burning of the spirits in the air, it did not cause other damage. This slash came to the top of Shirai in an instant, and in an instant, all the dead Chengdu in Jinglingting felt extremely hot. How is this possible? Shinigami Captain Sui Feng, Chuir, Hirako, and Komamura stared blankly at the flame slash in the sky. They looked terrified. This is Region Jaka. Only Region Jaka's flame can have such a high temperature. Everyone in the Shinigami immediately recognized that it was a slash from Region Jaka. However, Region Jaka is obviously the Zanpakutō of Yamamoto's captain. What about the purple flame? Captain Yamamoto's eyes narrowed even more rarely. He has lived for thousands of years, and there are few things that can shock him. Now, it appears. Region Jaka's temperature, he knows better than anyone else. However, what surprised him even more was that the temperature of the purple flames on this flame slash above the sky was even higher than that of his Region Jaka. He must be Bankai to have such a high temperature. Master Yuan Liuzai, this. K. Buletin, the deputy captain of the first team, was terrified and didn't know what to do for a while. Captain Yamamoto's figure flashed, and he immediately flashed out of the team building, looking at the purple flame slashing above, his expression became more dignified. The target of this attack is not Shirai, but Spirit King Chong. Above the Shirai is the palace of the Soul King. Obviously, the target of this slash filled with purple flames is the Spirit King Palace. All Shinigami understand this equally. But they have nothing to do, because the speed of this slash is too fast, and it is too late for them to stop it. The Lingwang Palace is indeed located above the Shirai, but the Lingwang Palace seems to be an independent space. There are 72 barriers between the Lingwang Palace and the Shirai. To enter the Lingwang Palace, generally speaking, you need a king key. Destroyed Karakura town to create the king key, and used the king key to board the Soul King Palace, but failed in the end. During the Millennium Blood War, Aizen also boasted that he would shoot down the Lingwang Palace with Ryutsu in one go. Looking for flowers. But Chiba is different. No matter how many barriers there are in Lingwang Palace, just cut them off. There is a layer of soul-covering membrane above Shirai, which is used to protect the palace of the Soul King and Shirai. When Ichigo and others invaded the Soul Society to save Rukia, they suffered a lot because of the existence of the soul-covering membrane. But this so-called soul shield is insignificant in front of Chiba's slash. Can't even block it for a moment. Chiba's slash pierced through the soul shield instantly, and then the 72 barriers between Shirai's Spirit King Palace also collapsed in an instant. Chiba's slash has reached Soul King Palace. The faces of the 5 members of Team Zero, including the monk, changed drastically. Obviously they didn't expect that Chiba's slash could actually break through to the Lingwang Palace. This is something that has never happened in 10,000 years. The monk's eyes instantly turned white, and his expression became serious, like an evil monk. He clasped his hands together and shouted, "I had 3 ways iron wind kill." Had, is a kind of had above 100. In Kanbaru's works, only monks have used it, and once suppressed Yōgyoku, who has not opened his eyes, which shows how powerful had is in the book. Now the monk wants to block Chiba's slash with had iron wind kill. In an instant, the spiritual power condensed by the monk released a huge cyan dragon head from his palm. This dragon roared, with bulging cheeks, and spit out a powerful hurricane from the dragon's mouth. "I want to blow away Chiba's slash." In the original book, the hurricane blown by the faucet completely blew away Yōgyoku's static blood outfit. The hurricane also successfully affected Chiba's slash, the slash paused for a while, and the purple flames on it were blown away a lot. 18. After the hurricane blows from the dragon's mouth, most of Chiba's slash is left. With no obstruction, Chiba's slash was like a meteor flying by. Whoosh sound. The Lingwang Palace was cut in half from the middle. The monk himself had an arm chopped off by the blow. No blood fell from the wound on the arm, because the blood from the wound was evaporated by the purple flame. Chapter 79. Chiba Genryuzai Shikai's knife cut several halls of the Lingwang Palace in half. Moreover, Ichibe Hisub, who is the backbone of Team Zero, also lost an arm. This is something that has never happened in 10,000 years Leiling Palace. It is conceivable how amazing the power of Chiba's knife is. Wanjiu ran over with a startled expression. The sunglasses he was wearing were all crooked for a long time. How could he still look a little hip-hop? Monk! Are you okay? Seeing the miserable state of the monk, Wang Yu was even more shocked. Ichibe Hisub, the backbone of Team Zero, is a person of the same period as King Ling and the ancestors of the 5 great nobles. No, or he is no longer a human being. He can live for hundreds of 10,000 years, and he is more like a special living body. Mysterious and powerful. Hundreds of thousand years have come to guard the Lingwang Palace. No one can be presumptuous in front of the monk, let alone beat the monk into such a miserable state. Chiba is still the first. What's going on here? The flame looks like Genryuzai and is better than Yamamoto Genryuzai's Genryuzai. Even your monk Ri head can't stop it. Who made this slash? Wang Yu was very puzzled, and was shocked by the power of Chiba's slash in September 20. The other 3 members of Team Zero also rushed over. When they saw the monk with a broken arm, their expressions were as incredible as Wang Yu's. Hisub, what the hell is going on here? Who did that inexplicable and powerful slash come from? Shutara Senjumaru and Hikifun Kiryu asked in surprise. Except for the monk, the other 4 members of Team Zero were also promoted from ordinary people, and some of their abilities are naturally inferior to the monk. They don't even know the existence of Chiba now. At this moment, the monk's eyes were white, his expression was extremely serious, and he said slowly, "It's a guy named Chiba who appeared out of nowhere. I can't even see through this guy. Facts have proved that he is an extremely dangerous existence." When Wang Yu and the others heard the words, their expressions were shocked again, and then everyone's expressions became serious. The monk is the leader of the Shinigami who has lived for hundreds of 10,000 years. He controls all the blacks in the world, and everything in the Soul Society is named after him. He is almost omnipotent and omniscient. However, even the monk said that he couldn't see through Chiba, and felt that Chiba's power was extremely dangerous. Shutara Senjumaru narrowed his eyes slightly. The guy named Chiba who can cut through the Soul King Palace with a single knife is more dangerous and evil than Aizen Suke. This is Senjumaru's initial evaluation of Chiba. In the past, Aizen was the most evil and powerful enemy for Shinigami, but Aizen still failed to create the King Key 2 years ago, let alone ascend to the Soul King Palace. But Chiba is completely different from Aizen. Chiba is just Shikai's slash, ignoring all the barriers in the Lingwang Palace, in the face of absolute power, without the need for the so-called King Key, he directly splits the Lingwang into fat again. So it's no wonder that Senjumaru commented that Chiba is more evil than Aizen. The deeper meaning of this sentence is, we may still be able to deal with Aizen Shangling Palace, but Chiba is too strong, we are not sure to win. Tian Chilang of Kailan Temple pulled out the dog's tail grass that had been in his mouth all the time, and said solemnly, "If there are a few more slashes like the one just now, how should we stop it? How can we protect the Lingwang Palace?" It's really that Chiba's knife just now was too shocking, even the monk's head couldn't stop it, and the rest of the people except Wang Yu should not be strong in fighting power. If Chiba cuts a few more times, how can they stop it? Lingwang Palace, isn't it really going to be cut into pieces by Chiba? The faces of the Zero Division members were extremely worried, and they were also ready for battle. No one could be sure whether Chiba would slash a few more times. After all, a slash to the extent just now is nothing more than a single blow from Chiba Shikai, even if it is done 100 or even 10,000 times. At this time, the monk exerted a little force, the Ryotsu on his body condensed, and a brand new arm grew out of the wound. The monk is a special life form with unfathomable abilities. The members of the Zero Squad are fused with their respective Lydians. As long as the Lydians are not completely destroyed, they can be resurrected. So growing a new arm is not difficult for the monk at all. It's just that the monk at this time can clearly feel that the aura on his body is a little weaker. The monk pulled out his Zanpakutō character, then patted his head with the other hand and said, "No matter what, I will protect His Majesty the Ling Wang." The monk drew his sword, obviously wanting to get serious with Chiba, if Chiba threatens King Ling. Shirai below the palace of the Soul King. All Shinigami of Godai 13 stared at the sky in horror. Because, after Chiba's knife just now, all of them saw the Ling Wang palace that was split in half above the sky. All the Shinigami were terrified and had no idea what was going on. What should they do? What could they do? Hitsugaichware and Sui Feng stared wide-eyed, looking a little terrified. This is Ling Wang Zhong. But, the Ling Wang palace was split in two with a knife. Even if they are captains, this is the first time they have seen the appearance of the Ling Wang palace. All of them can see the mysterious Ling Wang palace, thanks to Chiba's knife. What the hell is going on here? Who is attacking the Ling Wang palace? Komamura Seijin yelled. Because of his anger, the wolf head looked more fierce, going directly past us and attacking the spirit palace. Is he looking down on us, Godai 13? This old man must protect Shirai, guard the spirit palace, and uphold justice. Komamura yelled justice on his lips. It's just that his current strength is relatively lacking. Not to mention being able to block Chiba's attack, even a random member of the Star-Crossed Knights probably couldn't beat it. What the hell did I see? The Ling Wang palace was actually split open. Inside the Technology Development Bureau, Kuratsuka Mayuri's eyeballs almost popped out. It's not that he has poor concentration, but that he is too aware of the complexity and strength of the 72 barriers in the Ling Wang palace. A general attack cannot pass through these 12 barriers to attack the Ling Wang palace. But Chiba's knife not only did not cross the barrier, but destroyed 72 complex and strong barriers in an instant. To be able to do this, one can imagine how much strength is needed. Kuratsuka Mayuri was very impressed by this. Captain Yamamoto is also full of disbelief at this time. Really, this sudden slash similar to Rijinjaka's but better than Rijinjaka's was so powerful that even the Ling Wang palace was split open. Captain Yamamoto is a more disciplined person, and his Godai 13 is responsible for the Guardian Zero Division, which is the guardian of the Spirit Palace. If he, Yamamoto Genryuzai, made a rash move, would it be an act of presumptuousness? Moreover, there is a monk in Team Zero, is there any need for him to make a move? Captain Yamamoto frowned. Although he pulled out Zanpakutō Rijinjaka, he could only wait and see what happened. Below the team building, Aizen is tightly sealed. At this time, the seals on his left eye and mouth were lifted by the mole city Kenpachi. In the darkness, he suddenly opened his left eye. What's up with this Ryutsu? A rare look of shock appeared on Aizen's face. Because he felt Ryutsu on Chiba's slash. He had never felt this Ryutsu before, and it was unheard of, but it was so powerful that he was moved by it. This Ryutsu is the same as mine, surpassing the limits of Shinigami and Hollow, reaching a higher level. Aizen immediately judged from Chiba's slash that Chiba's Ryutsu definitely surpassed the Shinigami limit. Maybe even stronger than his Aizen's Ryutsu. You know, the representative of Ryutsu in Shinigami is Aizen. Aizen's Ryutsu was originally a very strong existence in Shinigami, and after being fully integrated with Hōgyoku, his Ryutsu has reached a higher dimension. However, Aizen couldn't figure out why a strange Ryutsu that was not inferior to him suddenly appeared. Outside the world, what the hell happened? Aizen muttered to himself, but he couldn't draw too many conclusions from 1.6 in the endless hell. A fortune-telling shop in Chiba. Chiba is dressed in white, standing with Rijinjaka, a flaming purple flame, without anger. Because the Soul King Palace is in the sky, even though it is far away from Shirai, everyone in the shop can still see that Chiba's slash just now passed through the Soul King Palace and cut the spirit Okoku in half. This is something unprecedented in the ages, it is too shocking. This is the first time for everyone here to see Chiba in real life, and then understand how terrifying Chiba's strength is. However, because of Chiba Shikai's Rijinjaka, everyone here feels scorching hot, the water in their bodies is about to evaporate, and their throats are about to smoke. Immediately, in order to make his guests feel better and not be burned or evaporated by the temperature of Rijinjaka, Chiba put Rijinjaka back into the sheath. In an instant, everyone here only felt that the unbearable heat disappeared, and they felt relaxed. However, Chiba's anger has not disappeared yet. Chiba looked in the direction of the Lingwang Palace in the distance, the corners of his mouth slightly raised. Send you another gift. Chapter 80. The reason why Chiba Shikai's sword is so powerful, to the extent that it can split through the Lingwang Palace, is because Chiba itself is strong. Chiba Zhanchuan Zugui is at the ultimate level, and after being fully integrated with Hōgyoku, Ryutsu is unmatched. There is also the coexistence of static blood equipment and dynamic blood equipment, which greatly improves the attack and defense power, plus the increase of other powers, so it is not surprising that Shikai, Chiba, can split the Lingwang Palace with a single knife. However, Chiba's anger has not yet subsided. Ichibe Hisub dared to interfere with his fortune-telling without authorization, and even shot Chiba first. Chiba just returned a knife, which was not enough. One more gift for you. The corners of Chiba's mouth are slightly raised. To others, this smile is like a sneer, which makes them feel boundless fear just by looking at it. Mr. Chiba, please stop, the Lingwang Palace has already been split in half by you. Jing Le acted like a good old man, and stepped forward to persuade Jian Tu. Of course, it's just persuasion, and it doesn't mean to stop Chiba at all. After all of them know very well that with their strength, Chiba cannot be stopped at all. And as the captain of Shinigami, he naturally doesn't want the Soul King Palace or Shirai to be damaged or even destroyed by Chiba's anger. Senior Chiba, please calm down. Renji and Rukia also begged Chiba to stop. Shendu is extremely worried about all their deaths. Although Chiba has put away Zanpakutō now, he has no intention of stopping at all. If we come again a few times, with Chiba's power, I'm afraid the Lingwang Palace will really crash. Chiba ignored the pleadings of Shinigami members in the 03 meeting. The monk dared to interfere with his fortune-telling and even shot him, so he had to be prepared to pay the price. With Chiba's thought, a scene that stunned everyone appeared. I saw a light spot suddenly appearing in the sky above Shirai. The spot of light enlarged rapidly, and everyone could see its appearance clearly. It turned out to be a meteorite as huge as Shirai. At this moment, the meteorite is falling rapidly from the sky. If this huge meteorite hits down, the entire Shirai and Lingwang Palace will probably be smashed to pieces. This meteorite is Chiba's second return gift to Lingwang Palace. At this moment, everyone was stunned, and their expressions turned terrified to ultimate. Meteorite. Could this meteorite be summoned by Senior Chiba? This is too scary. Renji swallowed, looking terrified. Chiba can even summon meteorites, this ability is really outrageous and powerful. It's too messy. Jingle and Jushiro frowned, the Lingwang Palace and Shirai will be destroyed. This huge meteorite summoned by Chiba simply made everyone in Shinigami despair. In the face of absolute natural disasters, it seems that manpower is so insignificant, so hopeless. What should I do? Shirai is really going to be destroyed, right? How many people will die in this case? Ichigo's face is full of worry. Although he was deceived and disturbed by the monk, he still cares about the safety of everyone in Shirai. Orium was so frightened that he covered his eyes with his hands, not daring to look. Yami, Stark, and other Ironclar people couldn't help being amazed after being unbelievable. Stark, Master Chiba's ability is truly unmatched. Wanda wise, ah, ah, ah. Ichimaru-jin, it's scary, it's scary. There was a strong fanaticism on Yami's face. Chiba's power is really too terrifying, so that he can't even arouse the slightest resistance, only longing and surrender. The meteorite summoned by Chiba is even bigger than the meteorite summoned by Grimi and Kenpachi in the original book, and its power is also several times stronger. In the blink of an eye, it descended over the Lingwang Palace. The entire Siriti is shrouded in the huge shadow of the meteorite, as if the end is coming. Fake, fake. This, how is it possible? The two captains, Chuer and Sui Feng, were just staring blankly at the meteorite that was about to fall from above, with cold sweat dripping from their foreheads, but perhaps it was because the meteorite was too frightening and desperational, and they temporarily all forgot to resist. The seriousness in Captain Yamamoto's eyes was unprecedented. He exhaled and shouted in a majestic voice, "All the captains and vice-captains in Siriti, pull out your Zanpakutō, spare no effort to smash this meteorite, and protect Siriti." Under the command of Captain Yamamoto, the captains and vice-captains of all Godi 13 in Siriti at this time pulled out Zanpakutō. Bankai, Jakarake Ben. Bankai, because of the red lotus water tile. Bankai, iron fist breaks the wind. Bankai, the golden sleigh Jizo. Go through it, Yan Lingwan. Bloom, fly frame. The captains and vice-captains tried their best to block and crush the meteorite that was about to fall from the sky. Although all of them have no idea in front of this huge meteorite that can destroy the world, but their duty is to protect Siriti. They can't withdraw. Once they withdraw, Lingting will be worthy. Enter the Lingwang Palace. The 5 members of Team Zero were also shocked by the meteorite summoned by Chiba. Is that guy really crazy? He also split the Lingwang Palace in half just now. We should be cleared with him, but he still made such a meteorite out. This is to completely smash the Lingwang Palace to the ground. Wang Yu's sunglasses fell off, and even he, known as the Knife God, couldn't help but feel frightened when facing this huge meteorite. The Lingwang Palace is above, and it will definitely be hit by meteorites before Siriti. And if such a huge meteorite as Chiba falls down, the Lingwang Palace will definitely be smashed down and embedded in the ground. Tianqilang of Kailan Temple cursed, that BD. If the Lingwang Palace is smashed down, the entire Soul Society, even the present world and Hueco Mundo will be destroyed. There is a Spirit King in the Spirit King's palace, and the Spirit King is the wedge that maintains the 3 realms. If the Lingwang Palace is crashed and the Lingwang dies, then the 3 realms will collapse. Shudera Senjumaru, that guy is 10 or even 100 times more evil than Aizen Suk. At this point Wang Yu took out his Zanpakutō sheath ambush. The appearance of this Zanpakutō is the same as that of ordinary Zanpakutō, but it has extremely high sharpness and smoothness. In short, it can split everything in front of it. In the original book, Wang Yu used this Zanpakutō to kill Yūhabaka's personal guards one by one before they were revived and strengthened. You can imagine how sharp this knife is. There is no time, I must block this meteorite. During the speech, Wang Yu's figure directly rose from the ground, heading straight for the meteorite above. Wang Yu is trying to stop Chiba's meteorite by himself. In Team Zero, Monk and Wang Yu are basically the only ones who can fight. The other 3 are not very good at fighting, and Monk was injured just now. The burden of blocking the meteor seems to fall on Wang Yu. Crush me, BD meteorite. In an instant, Wang Yu had come under the meteorite. In front of the huge meteorite, Wang Yu's whole figure was like a grain of sand, very low. His blade had already slashed on the meteorite, and there was no sound, but Wang Yu's knife did stop the meteorite for a moment, and several cracks appeared on the surface of the meteorite. But useless. BD, you can't cut it, you can't stop it. Puff. Wang Yu spat out a mouthful of blood, and the arm holding Zanpakutō was bent by the meteorite. Obviously, under the impact of this huge meteorite, even Wang Yu couldn't resist it. Seeing this, Captain Yamamoto of Shirai below immediately ordered all the captains and vice-captains to attack the meteorite together. Sui Feng uses Bankai and fires a missile. Chuir unleashes an ice dragon on the level of Bankai. Komamura Tianxian Mingwang jumped up and slashed the blade of the meteorite on the surface of the meteorite, but could not cut any marks. The fist that opened Bankai also exploded, and both fists hammered at the meteorite. The captain or vice-captain who is good at kid releases his most powerful head to block the meteor 577. For a time, half of Godiai 13's main combat power was fighting against the meteorite. However, it was only to stop this huge meteorite for a moment. It still couldn't stop it at all. Everyone vomited blood one after another and gritted their teeth to hold on. Of course, Wang Yu and their obstruction are still meaningful, at least there are cracks on this meteorite. At this moment, a wild laughter resounded in all directions. Ha ha ha, interesting, interesting. I've cut meteorites in that state before, and now I really want to do it again. Ha ha ha. The laughing man is Zaraki Kenpachi. When Chiba told Kenpachi's fortune before, Kenpachi chopped Shalamis meteorite in the immersive state. However, Kenpachi at this time can also see that the meteorite in front of him is different from Grimi's, it is bigger and stronger. It's time to go, 8,000 streams. Kenpachi greeted, and Yaki and Liu beside him nodded obediently. Eat it, no Zarashi. The mighty golden ryotsu spread out, Kenpachi performed Shikai, the Zanpakutō in his hand became gigantic, and his own hair grew even wilder. 8,000 streams. Overbearing axe. Not only that, but Kenpachi uses Bankai. His whole skin turned blood red, and his whole body turned into a ghost-like appearance who can only fight. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. In this state, Kenpachi has lost half of his sanity, and seems to only have the fighting instinct left. Laughing maniacally, he shot upwards, holding the huge Zanpakutō in both hands, and slashed at the meteorite in the sky. Wang Kenpachi strike with all his strength, returned to Wang Yu and Godiai 13 Shinigami captain or vice-captain's full attack, there was a crackling sound, and the shoulders of this huge meteorite were densely packed. Finally overwhelmed, the huge meteorite exploded, turning into countless small diameter gravels and falling down. Shirai was smashed everywhere and dilapidated. But at least the Lingwang Palace and Lingwang were saved, and Shirai and the Three Realms were also spared. Chapter 81. With the combined efforts of the Shinigami captains and vice-captains, the huge meteorite summoned by Chiba was shattered and turned into countless stones scattered across Shirai, leaving Shirai devastated everywhere. This is already the best result, otherwise if the entire meteorite falls down, the Lingwang Palace and the entire Shirai will be finished. Hateful. Maguruma Kensei spat out a mouthful of blood, and his body flew upside down like a kite with a broken string. He just used the Bankai iron fist to block the meteorite at close range. Although the meteorite was crushed by everyone, the huge impact still caused him to vomit blood and seriously injure him. The same is true for Komamura Seijin, who was knocked down by the huge impact force of the meteorite together with his black rope Tianzu Mingwang, and fell to the ground with serious injuries. There are several other captains and deputy captains who resisted the meteorite at close range, and this is basically the case. Cough cough, cough. Even Wang Yu himself, because he was the first to resist the meteorite, withstood the greatest impact. At this time, he was so shaken that his 7 orifices bleed. It's not that he and his Zanpakutō aren't strong, it's that the meteorite that Chiba summons is too big. Zaraki Kenpachi is the best of all after resisting the meteorite. Kenpachi, who used Bankai, has red skin all over his body, like a ghost from hell, extremely ferocious. In fact, half of the Shinigami's ability to smash the meteorite is due to Kenpachi. Without Kenpachi, this meteorite could not have been crushed at all just by other people's words. It's really interesting, meteorite, cut it again. Ha ha ha. Kenpachi laughed maniacally. At this moment he was able to control part of Bankai's power, and he could reserve some sanity. When Chiba gave him a fortune-telling before, he chopped up the meteorite summoned by Grammy in the immersive state, but the meteorite cloth summoned by Grammy is far worse than Chiba's Chen cloth. Grammy's meteorite, Kenpachi only needs Shikai to chop it up, but Chiba's meteorite is bigger, stronger, and more powerful. Kenpachi spared no effort to use the combined efforts of Bankai, Wang Yu, and other Shinigami to chop it up. In fact, all of this is within Chiba's expectations. If Chiba really wanted to destroy the Lingwang Palace and kill the Lingwang, it would not be as simple as just summoning a meteorite. Got saved. Many Shinigami below Shirai finally let go of their tight hearts at this moment, and some even collapsed to the ground. If the captain and vice-captains couldn't stop the meteorite just now, Shirai would really be doomed, and now they are saved. Especially the nobles in the 46 room, who were terrified just now, made a lot of ugly appearances. Now that the meteorite was shattered and rescued, he has regained his haughty, dog-like appearance. However, all the Shinigami couldn't help feeling panicked. First, someone slashed open the Lingwang Palace, and then a huge meteor fell from the sky. Such an unimaginable thing happened, but they didn't frown at all. Even if there is, most Shinigami are hopeless. Because Chiba's attacks are simply not something ordinary Shinigami can resist. At this moment, Captain Yamamoto is also using Shikai, and Rijinjaka's sword is burning with flames. The reason why he didn't attack the meteorite together with the other captains just now is that Rijinjaka's flame range is too large, and he is worried about hurting those captains or vice-captains. If a person can't stop the meteorite, then he, the captain of Yamamoto, will resist it, and if the situation is not good, he will use the Bankai residual fire sword. Fortunately, the people of Kenpachi chopped up the meteorite and saved Shirai. Yuan, Your Excellency Yuan Liuzai, what the hell is going on here? Who did that slash and this meteorite come from? And why did he attack the Lingwang Palace and the meteorite? Shirai. Kojiro, the vice-captain of the first team, asked with a flustered expression. All the Shinigami nearby also looked at Captain Yamamoto, hoping to get the answer from Captain Yamamoto. However, Captain Yamamoto's eyes were deep and his face was solemn, and he didn't speak. Obviously, although he was furious, he didn't know who did it, let alone the reason for it. Captain Yamamoto snorted coldly, and the powerful Ryotsu breath spread all around. No matter who it is, with this old man here, no one is allowed to trample on the jingling court. Goto is the eternal responsibility of Captain Yamamoto and Godi 13, they do not allow anyone to invade and trample the Shirai. But, if the Chiba really wanted to destroy Shirai and the Lingwang Palace, would they really be able to stop it? Fortune teller. The captains here, including Kiraku, Jushiro and Byakuya, all heaved a sigh of relief after seeing the huge meteorite above Shirai being pierced by the Shinigami team. Both Lingwang Palace and Shirai were saved. They also felt extremely shocked in their hearts. Chiba even summoned this kind of meteorite that can destroy the world. It is really an inexplicable and powerful ability. If there were a few more slashes like Rijinjaka's slash just now, or the huge meteorite, they would definitely make them all in Shinigami despair. The meteorite summoned by Master Chiba was actually blocked by those Shinigami guys? It's incredible. I just felt the Ryotsu of that BD Shinigami, how could his Ryotsu become so strong? Yami curled his lips, obviously in his opinion, he hoped that Shirai would be smashed to pieces by Chiba's meteorite. He also felt the Ryotsu of Zaraki Kenpachi, but Kenpachi after Bankai, his Ryotsu strength is too scary, much stronger than when he dealt with Yami in Hueco Mundo 2 years ago, even Yami feels it now, and feels extremely heartbroken shock. At this time, some people in the shop also looked at Kyuntu. Chiba was dressed in white and stood calmly. It is incredible that Chiba's breath is not disturbed or weak at all. If it was someone else, launching such a powerful attack twice, Ryotsu must have consumed a lot. But for Chiba, it seems to have no effect at all. As if these two attacks that caused great panic and damage to the Shirai and the Lingwang Palace were just Chiba's random actions. Even Jingle and Unohana suspected that Chiba could come dozens or hundreds of times if he wanted to, such as the slash and meteor attack just now. If Chiba really wanted to destroy Shirai, maybe it was just in his mind. Ignoring everyone's gazes and words, Chiba smiled faintly. Interfere with my fortune-telling, and have been attacked twice by me, did your Lingwang Palace still not express an apology? The matter started because the monks interfered with Chiba's fortune-telling. Although the Lingwang Palace and Shirai endured Chiba's two attacks, the monks and others from the Lingwang Palace still did not make any statement with Chiba. In this case, I will give you another gift from the Lingwang Palace. During the words, Tian Yi's thoughts moved. I saw a purple sniper rifle made of spirit seeds appear out of thin air in Chiba's hand. Then Chiba aimed directly in the direction of the Lingwang Palace in the distance. Everyone in the shop was startled, and Jingle, Unohana and the others were even more horrified. This gun? It looks like the weapon that can penetrate everything. Could it be? Just now, when Chiba gave Jingle a fortune-telling, he mentioned that Jabaro has the ability to penetrate all things, and the ability is activated with a sniper rifle. At this moment Chiba took out the sniper rifle, which seems to be the meaning. Before it was too late, Chiba had already pulled the trigger. Boom! An invisible spiritual bullet flew out immediately, and the whistling sound pierced the sky. In the blink of an eye, this spirit bullet came to the palace of the Spirit King. Although the two Wang Yu, Shutara Senjumaru, Kailan Templeton's hero, Hikifun Kiryu, the four, Mahaozhao, sensed the spiritual bullet fired by the Chiba sniper rifle, but the speed of the spiritual bullet was too fast, there was no time to react and fight, and Wang Yu and Tian Shilang, who were standing in a straight line, were pierced through their bodies in an instant. Their faces were full of disbelief, and they died on the spot in disbelief. The Lingwang Palace was also pierced through a hole by this spirit bullet. Whoosh! Another two spiritual bullets passed by, and Senjumaru and Hikifun Kiryu were also pierced through the crowd. Chiba pulled the trigger again and 10 more spirit bullets than before were fired. The target this time is the monk of the Lingwang Palace. The monk took out his Zanpakutō script, which was shaped like a giant brush, and drew a seal in the air, creating an enchantment that made everything impassable, hoping to resist Chiba's spiritual bullet. But, no use. The seal enchantment created by the monk with a single character can't stop Chiba's penetration of all things. In this world, it seems that there is no other effective means to prevent the penetration of all things except the 8-mirror sword. With a whoosh, the spiritual bullet directly penetrated the monk's sealing barrier, and the monk's body was penetrated at the same time. With Chiba's ability to penetrate everything, he defeated Team Zero in an instant. Chapter 82. Chiba's penetration of all things is far more powerful than Jabaro's penetration of all things. This is because Chiba's own Ryutsu is stronger and has a higher realm, and at the same time, it also has a large power bonus of the blood-moving outfit. A few shots will wipe out the Zero team. Of course, every member of Team Zero is integrated with their respective Lydian. As long as the Lydian is not completely destroyed, they can still be resurrected. Although the monk was penetrated by Chiba's spiritual bullet, he is a special existence that has lived for 10,000 years. He was only injured and did not die. He healed his wounds, and then revived the other 4 from Division 0. The monk scratched his head and said slowly, "It's really a scary guy. Fortunately, he is not aiming at Lord Lingwang, otherwise it will be even more difficult. The duty of everyone in Team Zero is to guard the Spirit King's palace." Fortunately, Chiba was not aiming at the Spirit King just now. Otherwise, a few spiritual bullets that penetrated all things were shot at the Spirit King. Except for the monk, there is no way for anyone else to stop it, even if it is a monk. It's not easy to block, at least you have to use his special Zanpakutō character ability. At this time, the eyes of the limbless Spirit King, who seemed to be sealed in the amber crystal, suddenly lit up. Seeing this, several members of Team Zero immediately fell to the ground respectfully on one knee. Master Soul King, do you mean to follow that guy and tell Kurosaki Ichigo's life experience? The monk seems to have a special means to hear the meaning of the King Ling. I understand, Lord Ling Wang, we will abide by and carry out your 863 will. The 5 monks received instructions from the King of Spirits and stopped preventing Chiba from telling Ichigo's fortune. And at this time, Chiba's voice could penetrate a long distance, resounding above the entire Siridi and Lingwang Palace. Dare to have a next time, there is no need for Lingwang Palace and Zero Team to exist. Chiba's voice resounds through half of the Soul Society, making all the Shinigami turn pale when they hear it. However, some unreasonable Shinigami or nobles became angry. Who's that voice? What outrageous fellow is speaking? What guy is so loud? Could it be the Black Hand who split the Lingwang Palace and summoned the meteorite just now? Even so, you can't be disrespectful to Lord Spirit King. However, a more surprising scene appeared. The monk of the Zero Division apologized to Chiba on behalf of the entire Zero Division, or on behalf of the Spirit King's will. I was the one who was reckless before, please forgive me. After the monk apologized to Chiba, at the same time, through Kid Tian Ting Kong Luo, he conveyed the will of the Yinling King to all the Siridi below. What happened today? Shinigami acted like nothing happened, do you understand? If there is any objection, it will be dealt with against the will of Lord Ling Wang. Godi 13's all-dead Chengdu was startled, his face full of disbelief. The Lingwang Palace was split open, Shi Tian descended, and an unknown existence, questioned the Lingwang Palace, but the monk Hui made everyone in Siridi pretend that this had never happened. In front of Chiba, the Lingwang Palace and Team Zero actually gave up. With Team Zero imparting the will of the Spirit King, everyone in Godi 13 below can only follow suit, and everyone will act as if nothing happened today and everything will be as usual. Now that Team Zero apologized, Chiba didn't try to force others to do so. After all, those who should be taught have also been taught. At this time, enter the Lingwang Palace. The monk healed his wounds and revived Wang Yu, Senjumaru, Ten's hero, and Hikifun Kiryu at the same time. Senjumaru looked solemn, and there seemed to be resentment in his eyes. That guy is 1,000 times more evil than Aizen. It can be seen that Chiba killed her with a single shot just now, which made her unhappy and even held a grudge. Wang Yu stopped Senjumaru's words, "Hush, you have also seen the strength of that guy, it's too strong. Of the 5 of us, I'm afraid no one is his opponent except the monk." The monk patted his bald head and said, "Don't say that, I didn't even follow his 2 moves. That guy's power is indeed not inferior to mine." Tian Chilang chewed the dog's tail grass in his mouth, and complained, "Monk, haven't you exerted your full strength yet?" In the 2 duels with Chiba just now, the monk did not use his full strength, at least the power of the word Zanpakutō was not fully exerted. Kailan Temple Tian Chilang and others don't think that monks are really inferior to Chiba. Even, they are more aware of the strength of the monk's survival for a long time, and there are almost no people who can defeat the monk. However, the monk's eyes became deeper, and he said slowly, "Didn't that guy also use his full strength?" As soon as these words came out, Wang Yu and the others were shocked and gasped. That's right, the monk didn't try his best, so Chiba didn't hold back. Chiba region Jaka's Bankai, and the power of omniscience are not used. Call. Fortunately, that guy is not determined to destroy the Lingwang Palace, otherwise it will be really difficult. Wang Yu sighed. If Chiba really wants to destroy the Lingwang Palace, they will be very difficult to stop. Now the monk apologized to Chiba, and Chiba seems to have stopped, which is already the best result. The Siridi below, although the Shinigami are full of shock and doubts, but the Zero Division has issued an order for them to pretend that nothing happened, and they can only do as usual. A fortune-telling shop in Chiba. Everyone looked at Chiba in white in horror. From the monk interfering with Chiba's fortune-telling to Chiba making 3 shots to make Team Zero apologize, the whole process was just a few breaths away. Everyone witnessed this incredible scene. Urahara, Jingle, Byakuya and other Shinigami gasped involuntarily, and also breathed a sigh of relief after the shock. Because the monk and Chiba seem to have reached a settlement, the Lingwang Palace and Siraidai are kept. Yami and other Arankar are very excited. The power of Chiba is simply too strong to make them surrender wholeheartedly. Chiba sat down again, with a calm expression, and spoke lightly. Okay, no one dares to interfere anymore, so let's continue. Hearing Chiba's words, Ichigo woke up from his stupor. Oh, okay. Then, Chiba told about Ichigo's life experience. When Ichigo and others heard it, they were all stunned. Ichigo's face was full of disbelief. My naughty dad is Captain Shinigami? My mother is the Quincy? That guy with whiteness in me is because of that. Ichigo knew his life experience, and understood everything. While it was unbelievable and unacceptable to him, it was the truth. Rukia was also stunned, and then suddenly realized, no wonder Ichigo, you look so similar to Master Kion, it turns out that Master Kion is your cousin. What shocked Ichigo and others even more is that the uncle Zangetsu in Ichigo's body is not Ichigo's Zanpakutō, Byakuya knew. Uncle Zangetsu is only the power of annihilation, and has been suppressing Ichigo's Shinigami power. Ichigo's Shinigami powers, all along, are just pieces. Afterwards, Chiba calculated the past and future for Ichigo. Ichigo's power has been greatly improved after Chiba's fortune-telling. Zanpakutō turned into a pair of swords, the 3 powers of Su, Shinigami and Quincy were fully fused together, and became an existence beyond the limit of Shinigami. And Chiba got 800 secret points, which is not bad. Before Ichigo could digest his own information and power, Chiba gave Ishida Uryu a fortune-telling. Ishida Uryu is not as weak as he looks on the surface, but his strength has not been developed yet. Through fortune-telling, Yulong also knew his own life experience. And the strength has been improved, and the holy text A has been completely reversed. Completely opposing this ability can resist the sanctification of Sumitomo Habich, and it is still very powerful. And Chiba also got 500 secret points. Fortune-telling Ichigo and Uryu got a total of 1300 secret points, which is very good. Chiba then tells fortunes to Urahara, Uryuaki, Grimjo, and even Sato and Orium one by one. They knew their original future trajectories, and they all obtained fortune to a certain extent. Chiba also got more than 2000 secret points plus the remaining ones, a total of 2250 secret points. Chiba opens the redemption page of the system. Chapter 83. In the original, the strongest power in Shinigami is almost omniscience. Chiba has been redeemed before. There are actually not many abilities that are useful to Chiba today. He scanned the various abilities on the redemption page, and finally settled on an ability called Divine Sanction. Holy Sanction, it can deprive the target's ability and invalidate the target's ability. The exchange requires 1000 boot value. Chiba thought about it, this Divine Sanction can nullify any ability of anyone, and it is also a very powerful ability. Exchange decisively. Then I exchanged some other abilities as supplements. Today's Chiba has truly reached the realm of invincibility. And at the same time, under the shadow of Siraidai, Jubik suddenly woke up. Using his special ability, he sensed the changes above Siraidai. The Lingwang Palace has been revealed, Team 0 and Godai 13 are seriously injured, God help me too. All warriors of the Invisible Empire, attack Siraidai with me. Because Chiba's knife split the Lingwang Palace, and the Lingwang Palace was exposed and it was easier to climb into the Lingwang Palace, so Yamamoto even called the Quincy to attack Siraidai in advance. Soon, the members of the Star-Crossed Knights and all the soldiers of the Quincy division were assembled. The Quincy masters used the shadow domain to come from the shadows to the Lingting above. Boom boom boom. Dozens of blue flame beams shot up into the sky in all directions of Shirai, and the Quincy masters walked out from inside. Immediately, Shirai raised the highest level of alarm. "Let's all start fighting. It's just that many captains and vice-captains of Godai 13 were seriously injured or consumed a lot when resisting the Chiba meteorite, and they didn't know anything about these quenches. The Shinigami side was killed and injured immediately." At the Chiba fortune-telling shop, everyone also felt the change of Shirai. The enemy invades ahead of time, and the decisive battle comes ahead of schedule. Kiraku, Urahara, Byakuya, Ichigo, Renji, Unohana, and others returned to Shirai to support. As for everyone in Aaron Car, Chiba just said flatly, "Any one of you who wants to fight can go." Holly Bell and Nilu chased after him to support Ichigo. But Aaron Car such as Ulquiorra and Star K did not act, they still stayed in Chiba's shop, as if to protect Chiba. Shirai. Many captains of Godai 13 were not there, and many people were injured and their combat effectiveness was greatly reduced when they resisted the Chiba meteorite. Therefore, these Shinigami captains faced the members of the Star Cross Knights. Most are suppressed. Of course, there is a special presence. That's Kenpachi. After the meteorite shattered before, the Bankai status was released. Now that the Quincy invaded, it was more to his liking. Even the Shikai was not opened, just like the original book, the 3 members of the Star 10 Knights were instantly killed. Later, Kenpachi met the holy text F Fear and S Big Star, and F shot Kenpachi his arrow containing the power of fear. But, maybe Kenpachi doesn't have the nerve to fear at all, or maybe Kenpachi's Ryutsu is too strong for F's fear power to work at all. The ability couldn't take effect, F panicked all of a sudden, resorted to the cowardice of the holy body god, and strengthened the power of fear. But it was split in half by Kenpachi. Died instantly. Seeing this, the big star S confronted Kenpachi, but after a while, Kenpachi Shikai killed the big star. Kenpachi kills 5 Star Cross Knights in a row. For a while, Fahabak could only order Hasward to deal with Kenpachi. Captain Yamamoto was furious and went straight to Yamamoto. He wants to kill Yamamoto completely and end the war between Shinigami and Quincy. Captain Yamamoto gave Bankai a meal and successfully killed Yamamoto, but in the end it was discovered that this was Yamamoto's trick. The Yamamoto who was killed was a fake, and the real Yamamoto was here Bankai who appeared at the time and took away Captain Yamamoto just like the original book. Without Bankai, Captain Yamamoto has no chance of winning, and it is already a certain defeat. When Captain Yamamoto was waiting to die, Ichigo suddenly came to the rescue. I saw Ichigo at this time, with a horn growing on his head, holding 2 swords. Ryutsu and aura are extremely strong. This stunned Yamamoto for an instant. When did Ichigo become so powerful? When did the 3 powers of Shinigami, Hollow, and Quincy all come together perfectly? Ichigo couldn't help but speak directly to his comrade-in-arms Habich. After all, he wants to protect the Soul Society, protect all friends and family members, and not allow Yamamoto to trample on the Soul Society or even destroy the 3 realms. Ichigo in this state is also too strong. Yamamoto was suppressed by Ichigo holding 2 knives and retreated steadily. When Yamamoto wanted to take out the Quincy star to take away Ichigo's Bankai, he found that the star was invalid for Ichigo. Ichigo continues to press Yamamoto to fight. Yamamoto could only activate the sanctification, which drew the power of many Quincy masters and restored stronger power. And those sanctified extermination masters will lose the ability to complete the Eucharist in light cases, or die directly in severe cases, and become the power of Hōgyoku. The number of members of the Star Cross Knights suddenly decreased by more than half. And Yamamoto also opened his eyes at this moment, and several pupils appeared in his eyes, possessing the power of omniscience and omnipotence. Not to mention, the eye-opening Yamamoto is much stronger than before, and Ichigo with 2 swords is gradually no longer an opponent. There was only a click, and Ichigo's double swords were actually broken by Yamamoto. Ichigo was seriously injured and lost. However, At this moment, a powerful Ryutsu came from the underground of the first team. It turned out that it was Urahara and Kiraku who released Aizen. Several people worked together to deal with Yamamoto, although Aizen's Kaika Suijutsu interferes with Yamamoto, but they are not the opponents of Yamamoto who has omniscience and omnipotence, and they are defeated one after another. When Yamamoto wanted to get rid of Yamamoto and others, he found that the gap that was split by Chiba in the Lingwang Palace was being repaired, and the main food of the spirit would soon be hidden again. For this reason, Yamamoto didn't dare to waste any time. He stood up straight from the ground, and went straight to the Spirit King Palace above. Yamamoto was also unstoppable, and after entering the Lingwang Palace, he instantly killed several members of the Zero team. Even if the monk Ichibe Hisub used the ability of the Zanpakutō word and even Bankai, they couldn't hurt Yamamoto who has omniscience and omnipotence. The monk was cut into pieces and couldn't stop Yamamoto. So Yamamoto easily killed and devoured the Spirit King. Yamamoto who devoured the Spirit King, his strength increased again, and he even felt that he was invincible. Overwhelmed with complacency, he launched sanctification, sanctifying all the Quincy. Some of the Quincy survived, and most of the Quincy, including Hasward, died directly, and returned their power to Yamamoto. Because the Soul King was killed, the Soul Society gradually collapsed. Seeing this, Shishiro wanted to sacrifice his right hand, but was stopped by Rukia and Chiba Kyan. Because they knew through Chiba fortune-telling that even if Shishiro sacrificed the right hand of the Spirit King, it would be in vain, and even let Yamamoto absorb it, which is not worth the loss. 0. Ask for flowers. By the way, I really want to thank you for the guy who split open the Lingwang Palace. Yamamoto said unscrupulously, wanting to thank the Thousand Kings. If Chiba hadn't split the Lingwang Palace, it would have taken him a lot of effort to climb the Lingwang Palace and devour the Lingwang. Then I'll get rid of you now. Yamamoto would not allow Chiba to exist as a threat to him. And just as he finished speaking, Chiba's figure appeared in front of Yamamoto without warning. Chiba smiled lightly, I don't want the three realms to collapse either, so I still have to stop you. Chiba crossed over, and actually didn't have a very obvious position. However, Yamamoto wanted to kill him, and Chiba didn't want the three realms to collapse, so he would definitely do it. Yamamoto snorted coldly, and then used omniscience and omnipotence. Omniscient and omnipotent, that is the power to change the future. There is almost no solution in the original book. But for the first time, Yamamoto's expression changed. Because he suddenly discovered that Chiba's future he couldn't see, let alone change. Chiba smiled faintly, surprised. I also have omniscience. 0. Also, I have already seen the future where you are killed and become the Soul King. Chiba also has omniscience, and Ryutsu is also superlative, so Yamamoto's omniscience doesn't work on him. Not only that, Chiba also possesses a kind of ability divine sanction. In an instant, Chiba's whole body shone with divine light, and the divine sanction was activated. Yamamoto's omniscience and omnipotence failed at this moment. Taking advantage of this opportunity, Taha used Rijinjaka's disarmed katana. In an instant, the entire Soul Society seemed to be baked by the scorching sun, and it was extremely hot. The sky and the earth are burnt. Chiba swung Bankai's sword with all his strength, and cut Yamamoto in half. After Yamamoto was cut in two, countless black energy spread from his body and he wanted to struggle. But these black chi were all burned to ashes by Chiba's remnant sword. Yamamoto's Ryutsu is completely gone. The king of Quincy has completely fallen. Chiba retracted Bankai and sheathed Rijinjaka, and everyone in Soul Society gradually recovered from the heat. And this battle between Chiba and Yamamoto was witnessed by countless Shinigami in Quincy, and they were all surprised, even terrified. Chiba is so strong that even Yamamoto can be killed easily, which makes people fear. Come out, bald monk, I know you're not dead yet. Chiba seemed to speak lightly into the air, and when he finished speaking, I saw Ichibe Hisub suddenly come to life and appeared in front of Yamamoto's body. The monk was full of praise, it's unbelievable. I thought that no one could defeat Yamamoto. I was ready to make Kurosaki Ichigo the Soul King. I didn't expect to go to that step. Chiba just glanced at the monk coldly, and didn't bother to say a word, and his figure disappeared. The monk also recovered Yamamoto's body non-stop, and made Yamamoto a new spirit king, which stopped the collapse of the three realms. As for Chiba, he returned to his fortune-telling shop. He used his abilities to set restrictions on the shop. Without his permission, no one could see or enter his shop. Then he used his imagination to create two other himself. One went to Hueco Mundo to be the king of Hueco Mundo, the other went to Karakura town to enjoy life in this world, and the main body was still cultivating in a fortune-telling shop. Final work.